Yeah. Yeah. Let's go through the review. We will go through the issues a little later. I mean, in the next slide. So what we did yesterday. So I mean, in the last class we created a training arc. I mean, this training arc is little different than the trailhead arc. This is a free trail arc, which is a short-lived arc from Salesforce, and only for the training purpose. Typically, they use this arc only for Salesforce training by those guys. But I mean, they gave access to us, so which is nice. I think we can also learn without paying money. So, and then we created our arc. So by default, it came with classic experience. Then we enabled lightning experience. So in that arc. And then we navigated through the arc a little bit. So we have seen various things that Salesforce gave us as options to work in the system. And then, so I want to discuss some real-time use cases where we create arc. In production, there is only one production arc in real time. So let's say a company, ABC Labs or somebody is implementing Salesforce, means they will have only one production arc. And sometimes some companies may choose to buy multiple production systems, but usually that is a lot of maintenance. And if you have one account here, so they may expect the same account in the other system. So that's where a lot of integration work need to be done. And so it's usually better to keep one production system, but it is not, I mean, it is very common to see a company having multiple production arcs. And I know one company here in Chicago, so basically they have maybe 20-30 production arcs. It's a
What is the use? What is the use case for that, Srikanth? Is it different departments having different?
Different departments. Sometimes it is political reasons. So let's say you and me, so are managers, and if you are leading the teams, and sometimes maybe you feel like your team is going faster than my team. I'm slowing you down, kind of thing. I mean, these are political reasons, I would say. But in general, so I mean, any thing can be done in one arc. Sometimes the user experiences are different. So let's say there are Europe customers, I mean Europe users, and there are America users. So I mean, if the experience is different, we can always create different profiles, different layouts and everything, and we can make the same system work. But it is more of, I mean, I would call little bit of political reasons rather than system incapability. So that's how
right. So you pay for every instance, you pay extra, right? Pretty much like.
I mean, Salesforce licenses, it's all, most of the time it's by user license. So let's say
Per user, okay.
yeah, you have Europe users, 100 users, and I have 50 US users. When you create a production arc, so you will pay for 100 users, I will pay for 50 users. But when we negotiate for 150 users, sometimes if it is single arc, maybe Salesforce can give better price. But usually they can, I mean, companies are smart enough to negotiate with Salesforce. They can say under this umbrella, so we have 150 licenses, maybe you have to give it for the same price. And typically Salesforce would obey that.
All right, perfect. Thanks.
So again, so I mean, when admin is not going to create any production arc, so like how we created, it is Salesforce. When a company ABC Labs say, okay, hey, they go to Salesforce, they say, okay, we are buying Salesforce and maybe so and so licenses we want, then Salesforce would create that production arc. And from there onwards, the admin of ABC Labs would start using the system or implementing the system the way ABC Labs needs. And so So there are a lot of sandboxes again. So you don't really develop anything in production. You have to create sandboxes. Unfortunately, in our thing, there is no way to create sandboxes. But just keep in mind that there is something called sandbox. You create your work, you develop your work there, and you deploy the work to production. That's how in real time happens. But in our case, we are making the changes at runtime. I mean, why we cannot make changes in production? Let's say there are users using the system, and we have to tell, okay, what change is going to go to production. So those users need to be aware. That's why typically all the companies would say, okay, every Thursday we deploy to production. And also the admin would put in a lot of details saying, okay, what are the changes that are going to go with that release. So those change management is also the developer, I mean, admin responsibility, not the developer responsibility. And they would do all that work. I mean, the background work, getting the users ready for the change. So yeah, I mean, those are the use cases. I mean, potentially you don't create any production arc. Salesforce would create it for you. Sandboxes. Every company will get a lot of sandboxes when they buy licenses, and if they want, they get more sandboxes also they can buy. And typically production is a full capacity sandbox. Let's say if it is, some companies can buy 1 terabyte space with maybe 10,000 users, and some companies, if they are small, so they choose to buy less space and less licenses. And when you buy for less licenses, obviously you get less sandboxes. For our company, so we got about 100 sandboxes, and maybe even we may have about 30 developers on the team, and pretty much everyone can have one sandbox. We can develop it, we can deploy the changes to production. I mean, we typically don't deploy every developer. There will be release leads, they will deploy the changes to production. We individual developers develop in their sandboxes, then there will be one integration sandbox, we merge all the changes there. And then there will be another pre-prod sandbox, we merge the changes there, we make sure everything is working fine. So there will be a lot of regression, those things will happen there. Finally it goes to production. That's how in real life it happens. And these sandboxes again, so they can create the sandboxes, they can refresh the sandboxes whenever the admin wants. So those are admin responsibilities. Any questions on that? So then let's get into some knowledge check. So we said we wanted to go through some changes. I mean, I asked you to navigate around the app and see how we can address these questions. Maybe, I mean, I don't want to call out names. Maybe same person won't answer all the questions. Maybe give chance to others. So maybe the first one. So who wants to go?
I can go if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Should I read out the question or just I should answer it?
Yeah, you can read out the question or you can say it in our words a bit.
Okay, sure. How many accounts begin with the letter A? For this, first, we should create a filter on accounts. Later on, the field should, I think, should I show it or should I go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, if you want, if you're comfortable here, please let me make you presenter. Thank you. Yeah, please take it over.
Okay. I have a lot of screens open here.
We are seeing the Windows desktop blank screen right now.
Oh, sorry. It's better. I will say it out. I don't know how to show you.
Okay. Okay.
First, we should create a filter on accounts. Later on,
Yeah,
the
make,
field
make
account
me
name.
presenter. So I think maybe I can walk you what you were saying.
How should I make you a presenter?
You just click on my name and the three dots, and you can say make the host.
Yeah, I can see that. Sorry for that.
No, no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically here accounts.
Accounts.
Yeah, I'm in accounts.
We should create a filter here.
Uh,
It's in Canva.
okay, so yeah, I mean I have all these accounts. So you're saying so.
Yeah. Yeah. Starts with A.
Let's take one letter.
Done.
So that is one way. I mean, the anyone wants to give another way. I mean, let's say I don't want to create filters. Let's say I want you. So again, I have to change this
You
guy.
can just click on account name so that it will alphabetical order it will
Yeah,
increase
so-
and decrease.
Yeah, that is another way.
Yeah, if you go descending and ascending orders, yeah.
There are 12.
Yeah, so this is another way. So let's go back. Yeah, obviously, I think we answered the second one also. And where did Alison Wheeler get her business degree? So anyone wants to go?
Our School of Business.
Sorry.
Our School of Business.
Okay, how do you find that?
We should search in people. Search for Alison Wheeler.
Yeah, so right here they mentioned so on the charter, so it is mentioned so there some background history of her. I mean, not every org will be like this. So this is where the admin would need to do some customization, and so these we can go a little later. But this is where you find that information. And so the next one. So how many members are in the Beat Targus group?
Eight members.
We have to go to groups and
View members and view all.
Targus. And there is this one manage members, and there is members here. So so here you will see all of them. And also this is a little important one. So somebody is admin, somebody is standard. So standard means they can't really do much by adding to add users and all. But Alison can add more users to this org if she wants. And these users just can collaborate. And what department division are they in? So let's say be Targus, and yeah, anybody wants to go?
The title says it, right?
Title says just the title. So the department and the division are at a different place.
Maybe the user.
Yeah, so we need to go inside the user, and here still we are seeing the title and other information. And if we go to user detail, yeah, here you see in the department and the division. So basically, Alison Wheeler is on the sales. I mean, her title is VP, but her department is sales. And the division, so for this user, they didn't maintain any division. And same thing. So if we want to go back, so find another user, we can find. So basically, we have to come back to see the department for each user. How many people are following you in Charter? So,
People. And then if you click on a name.
so
I
potentially,
think chat.
sorry, someone saying.
I think followers list we can't see in Lightning component, right? We should go back to the classic and we should check there for the followers.
Yeah, I mean, most likely end user functions, you don't need to go to classic.
Okay.
Everything should be, we should be able to see right here.
We can go on people.
Yeah, let's try people on people. I don't know whether I can see myself.
People, we can go, and then when we click on that, our name, so it will show.
Yeah, so potentially here you see followers, whoever is following you. And so these are basically, believe these are the people I am following, and these are the people that are following me, so, or one way or other. So there are 16 people here. Whereas here there are 8 people. So I think these 8 people I am following them, and the other 16 people are following me. Yeah, maybe we need to see. Let's see if we can add. If I try to follow somebody who is not Amy Daniels, let's see here. So Amy Daniels is not here. So let's go to Amy Daniels and we'll follow her. And if I'm not following others. Yeah, so I'm already following. So basically the bottom one is the one that I am following, and these are my followers. And to answer this question, so basically, I think someone said, so 8 people.
So Srikanth, these are all in your company only. I mean, in general, these are users from our company.
Yeah, so these are all users from our company, but we can invite customers also. Let's say ABC Labs is doing business with some Pepsi or something, and if we want to invite some Pepsi employees to chat with us, we can invite those people as well.
Okay. So will they be added to the org or it's just for chatting?
Yeah, they only can do chatting. They can only collaborate, but they cannot see any of our data.
Okay.
So the next one is which fields Yushi Ishiwaka requesting for our account phase layout. So we can look for Yushi either people or we can look here. Let's see people. It has spell it wrong. Okay, Yuko. Yeah, you can search for people just by going here, or maybe you can directly use the global search. So anything is fine. So now when we go here, so there is a lot of chatter that is going on. So maybe here one of the questions that she may have related to the question that she wants. New fields. Okay. So my sales operation categorizes customer accounts by region and then by zone. Could we have new fields capture this information? So that's in the charter she asked me those questions. So basically APAC and typically Asia Pacific and East Asia, so Southeast Asia and so the Middle Eastern one. So here Africa, all that stuff, and Latin America is here and the US. So basically there is so they wanted to categorize the accounts. So that's where she wanted some new fields. And finally, so do you own any files that have been uploaded into the Arc? Have any files been shared with you? How many?
The files
Go
tab.
to files.
Then go to files.
Here you can see shared with me.
So basically, I don't own any files, and so there are 3 files that are shared with me, and so that yeah. So do you? Yeah, I don't own any files. I basically there are 3 files that have been shared with me. And, yeah, that's about that one. So what component in Salesforce is similar to table of data?
She can answering the object.
Oh, so you're saying answer for this guy?
Yeah, the first one answer is
Yeah, so one is object, and basically the component is similar to table of data. So typically the list views look more of a table of data. So yeah, both are right. So object has all the data, and so the list views contain table of data. So which standard objects have relationship with account?
Contact, case,
So
opportunity.
Srikanth, should everyone know some set of standard object names?
Yeah. So I will
Will that
show
be
you.
an interview question or something?
Yeah, I mean, typically some people ask, I mean, the expectation is if you're attending interview means you maybe all, I mean, I don't ask that question, but yeah, it is not uncommon. So you will hear those. So basically all these related lists are nothing but they have relations. Basically contacts have relation with account. And basically all these related lists are kind of treat them as children. Account basically contacts are children, and activities are children, opportunities are also children. Basically anything that is in the related list are so can be treated as a child of that.
Matrix, yeah.
Yeah, and if you go to setup, here you will see all the standard objects and custom objects. So basically in the object manager, here see anything that is with __ C, that is custom object. Actually it is also saying here custom object, and all the standard objects are here. So some of them you may or may not be using it, but so there may be quite a bit of objects that Salesforce by default gives. And so anything that is _C, basically this is called API name, and this is the label. You typically see it on the UI, but this one is a developer. Whenever we are talking the programmatic language, they have to use this. And also for admins, when you are writing some formulas and all, so you would be using API names, and the label is just for the end user sake. And let's say if I have if I want to give a different name for this one, I can always change this guy, but this is not it is not a good practice to change the API names, because you may have already deployed this API name to other system, and if you change it, it is going to create a new object altogether. So that's why just it is a practice only to change the labels, not the API names. And also, I mean, this is the main thing, how you differentiate between custom object versus standard object. And we will do a lot of work on this tab later. So yeah, and also, I mean, maybe we will cover this guy, but I will show you since we are here. There is something called a schema here. So here also you will see all the objects. And so, I mean, you can also see the relationships between objects. Let's say remove all this, and let's say look for contact. And if I bring this, yeah, so you'll see the relationship between those things here. Basically account, and also there is this legend here, the lookup, and master detail relationship and all. So here from account to account, there is a relationship. This is called self relationship. Let's say there is a Pepsi Chicago, and then there is Pepsi Illinois, so then Pepsi US. And if we have those kind of thing, and everything is account. So, and at that time, first you create Pepsi global account or Pepsi US account, and then you create Pepsi Illinois account. And then you say Pepsi Illinois on the parent, you enter Pepsi US. And for Pepsi Chicago, so if you want to enter Pepsi Illinois as parent, again, so you will look up, I mean, you will build the relationship between those same objects also like that.
So an account can have multiple accounts also.
Yeah. So,
related to it.
Yeah, if you see ABC Labs, I mean, this is where it will show the relationship. I mean, this one doesn't have much relationship. Let's look at some of those accounts. And if they have same name, typically, I mean, hopefully we should be able to find some.
Yeah, no, that's okay, Shrikant. I just
Yeah.
wanted to make that
Yeah.
point that, you know, one account, yeah, that Arbuckle might be a good
Yeah,
example.
so same thing here, basically the Germany. So this one may have some relationships.
Okay, maybe separate again.
Let's see. So yeah, basically that's the idea. So you
Yeah.
can build the relationships between those.
Yeah, in general, I was trying to read that diagram out. So
Sure.
that an account can have multiple contacts also. Right?
Yeah. And I mean, typically, if you want to link it, so there will be a parent field on the UI. I mean, if so here potentially you can build that relationship. Yeah, so let's say Germany, if I want to, I mean, even though it doesn't make sense, so let's say just for the sake of it, we can link those. Now, if we say, look at these things, so you will see that relationship. So that's the parent relationship between same objects. But for contacts, we already seen how it looks like. And so this is the. So here we will see some lookup field for account, and that's the one. So basically, this contact is looking up to this account. So how does the user navigate from an account record to related contact record? Yeah, so basically from account, there is a related list, and we can just look at the related list, and we can navigate to the contacts from here. And also, I mean, there are other ways to navigate. Yeah, it is yeah, right here on the top. You see, these are called quick links. I mean, let's say if I have to find opportunities, I have to scroll down, find where is this opportunity and all. But whereas here it is very quick view to navigate to those different related lists. And if you want to create one, so you can directly create. And this is called related list quick links. And you can basically have multiple ways to find related objects from one object to another object. And what options are available from help and training portal? So this one I didn't cover. So this is called help and training. And here basically there is something called context-based search. So when you are on this page, so basically now since we are on account, basically it shows, okay, hey, what can you do with accounts? And so those are the things. Let's say if I go to charter, this one immediately will change and it will show a little bit of different favor. So basically how what all the things that you can do with charter. So I mean, if you want to see more details about charter, maybe you can read it from here directly. So either you can go to help.salesforce.com, or you can even do it straight from the Salesforce context menu. And when we are in setup, basically you will see a lot of help thing. And so everything is a little bit of context based. For that case, what is appropriate, so they will add that stuff. Let's say if you go to service setup assistant, and let's see release updates. Usually you see some help here. So yeah, so here you see help for this page, and you just navigate to that. So and it will typically show some information about that particular topic that you selected. Sometimes it asks you to log in. So I mean, you can just log in, use this Trailblazer one, and the Salesforce login that you created, that should work. System is slow. Yeah, basically it will bring that profile related help directly right from the setup. So when you click on that, and when you go to queues, so what can you do with queues? Basically that kind of information you directly get it from there. So that is they call it as context based help. That way you get the information easily. Yeah, so those are the things that we talked. I think we are already at 9:40. So any questions there? So if not, yeah. So yeah, let's try to troubleshoot some of these login issues, and especially these are the things that you will see a lot of time in production support. And most of the time users say, hey, I can't log in, I can't log in. So I mean, at that time, what do we do? As an admin, the first things that the admin would should do. So let's say most of you were having issues when you log in as from the mobile. So couple of things that we need to check. The moment first go to your profile. I mean, in real time use cases, you typically go to the user that have problem. So potentially you go to setup, you look for users, or you can directly search for the user. So let's say I have some issue going on from a different device login. So, but I can log in from the browser. So then I can go here. I mean, if you are not able to log in from browser itself, that is totally different situation. But if you are able to log in from browser but not from the phone or maybe through API, so then these are first thing that you should look at is login history. So here it will say, okay, why? I mean, if, first of all, when Kishore said mentioned, okay, he's not able to log in. I went to his org. I mean, I had to get the password because I don't have access. Then I looked at the login history, and I don't see any failure attempt. And sometimes it says, okay, let me try to log in here and to the same org. And so that time if it fails, so then immediately we will see why I'm not able to log in. So I try to enter wrong password intentionally. So let's see if it registers. So immediately it will say, okay, what was the problem? So someone tried to log in, and so basically it says, okay, I intentionally entered wrong password here, and that's why it didn't let me in. And then so potentially I can give the right password. So that should oh, come on. Yeah, so now I was able to enter the right password. So if we refresh the screen, so it should show a success attempt and potentially another failure attempt also.
Animals that have wings that do not have wings.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was talking to Chitra here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so basically that's how you see, I mean, this is your first thing. And also when you say, okay, I'm not able to log in from iOS. So potentially what I will do now, so I will try to log in from my phone. And so then you will see the application is a little different. So I mean, there are multiple ways to log in. So I mean, if I log in from mobile, most probably you may have tried all this now by now. Yeah, I logged in from my mobile, so it should record one more thing. It should register here. Oh, sorry, this is Kishore's login on my phone.
So we also had some requests about not being able to log in the app, right? Is
Yeah,
that
that's the one I'm trying to simulate now. So I'm going
okay?
to my phone. When I try to log in through my phone, basically it will show I logged in as from the phone, and it will show Salesforce application as Salesforce iOS. So that's the
Okay.
one I'm trying to show. My phone is so slow. Yeah, I mean, maybe if you are, and also you can download the login history. Maybe let me do that while my phone is getting ready. Yeah, if you see here, I mean, here potentially I think maybe 10 records or something that it will show the recent thing. And you can download, and maybe once I download, I can see my iOS logins. Yes. So this is where, I mean, this is how you see the login tree. And so what is the login URL? So if you use the domain, or you use just the login.salesforce.com, or so this is where you see the Salesforce for iOS. So potentially when I use my phone, it comes like this. So basically it is as if I used the Salesforce thing. And so if at all, I mean, this must be the help dot, when I went to help.salesforce.com, so it asked me to use a Trailblazer account. So that's where I entered this information. So that's how it I mean, it basically captures all the information, and that they can track it down to the IP level. So basically, what is the IP that I used for that login? So all that information will be captured. And if there is any, I mean, let's say if there is too much data that is extracting with one user, they can always find who that was and what IP that user is coming from. All that stuff, they can track it down, and they can stop any malicious activity as an admin. So those are the things you would be able to do. But unless until you know something is going on, so then I mean, then you look into that user and all. But there are other tools that Salesforce provides. So there is something called event monitoring. So that will monitor things for you. So you don't have to basically do it. But I mean, those tools are expensive, about $1 million kind of thing. The companies would still buy those because safety is very important for any company, especially in cloud. So yeah, so those are the things. I mean, if anybody has issue, potentially we can look into the issue, and also we can troubleshoot. And one thing I can say, when you have this thing, maybe try to add under your profile. So most of you are system admin profile. Go to the profile and look for this connected apps, the assigned connected apps, and assign yourself this Salesforce for iOS if you see it. So that is one thing that might help. I mean, if you are using Android phone, so potentially use Salesforce Android, and I mean, it doesn't hurt even if you add both. So that way, it is telling Salesforce, saying, okay, hey, if any user on this profile trying to use Salesforce iOS app, so just so it is okay to let them in, kind of. That's what we are saying here. And I mean, on the back end, what is going to happen? So basically, that app Salesforce created, and we will be able to see these apps in here. So, and most of you have seen what error. I think when Kishore sent that screenshot. And so this is how you see connected apps, what uses. And in here, so potentially you will see Salesforce for iOS, and there is one user that is using this app. I mean, since on my org, I am the only one, but in production, in real time, you will see hundreds and thousands of users, user count. And if at all you want to block them, you can block them, all that stuff you can do. I mean, these are all admin functions. I mean, this is one thing. Sometimes some features Salesforce has not done the lightning work for that pages, and this is one of those pages. I mean, immediately you see this classic experience, and yeah, here you can see. I mean, my user here. So I used Salesforce iOS app. At least I used it for 2 times. So I mean, that's how you can see who is using, and if at all you want to revoke access for that user. If you don't authorize this user, you can just revoke, and that user may have to log in again. And that's how there are some controls how to stop a user using the system. So yeah, so these are
So
all.
Srikant, will the revoke not let him log in at all, or using the app?
Yeah, I mean, let's try. So let's say if I try to do this, I mean, when I try to again access from iOS, potentially, I mean, it will ask me to log in one more time. And if I am an authorized user, so potentially it would let me in. So for some reason, my phone is not reacting. So the app is not coming back to me. Maybe you can try on your thing, these things. And so this one I want to show you. I mean, I want you to follow me as I'm doing. So go to your user, all of you. And this is, this is a real-time project. Basically, Salesforce wants everybody to have multi-factor authentication. Right now, when I say multi-factor authentication, right now the way you are using, you are entering your password. That's it. I mean, if someone steals your password, they can always log in as you. So, and there is no way admin would know. Okay, hey, someone steals somebody's password. I mean, there are ways we can still see, okay, one user is coming from too many IPs. Potentially we can find it, but that is, Salesforce is trying to restrict those things. So the way you do it, just navigate to your user. And I don't know how many of you were able to install the other application that I asked you to install. So that is kind of Salesforce Authenticator. I mean, you may have seen Google Authenticator and other authenticators. So potentially those will act as secondary factor authentication or multi-factor authentication. So the way how those works, so there is something that you know, and which is your password, and there is something you have. So that's the multi-factor. One is something you know, the other one something you have. So mobile you have, and password you know. So basically that's how they say. And now, so what I mean, here I already set up my Salesforce Authenticator. I disconnect. And so this is how you would be seeing for your stuff, your user. And now, so when you see this guy, your user should be like this right now. So maybe if you can go to your user on the system, and this is how you would be seeing app registration, Salesforce Authenticator, and there is Lightning login. So we will be working on these two. And this is something UTF key. You have to buy some USB kind of thing. So basically that generates a password all the time, and you have to enter that password. Basically that is something you have. I mean, in our case, most of us have smartphones. We can use that one. And let's say when I use connect, so I mean, first time since I'm connecting, so basically it has to authenticate, okay, whether I'm the one that is trying to do. And now, so if I go back to my email, and I should have one code generated to me. Somewhere the system is too slow today. Yeah, so here there is something that came in. So it is saying, okay, here someone is attempting Salesforce login on your behalf. So basically it sends me a code. So this is the code. I need to go back to Salesforce, and I need to key in that one. Okay, so I think I copied that guy. Yeah, maybe I think you also should try to do this thing. I mean, this one will help you. I mean, couple of things you can do. So you can remember password on the browser. That way you don't enter wrong password. That is best. I mean, after some time, basically it will deactivate the user. Then only Salesforce support can help at that time. So now when I go to that app that I asked you to install, and you just have to hit on the app on the phone, add account. So that one will give you some 2-letter word. Basically that's the thing that they want you to add. So here I got like tragic fighting. This is all one-time setup. I mean, Salesforce would mandate the real-time production users to go through all these things. I mean, this is just for security sake. I entered what I see on my phone. So basically, it will say it will connect to my phone. So now I got saying something on my phone saying connect account. I will say connect, and that knows. So from this time onwards, potentially whenever, and also I will show you one more step here. So I'm able to log in. So my phone going forward can let me in. So I mean, I need to know my password, and next step is we don't even need to remember password. So we can directly authenticate with the phone with a push notification. That's the one that we are going to do next. We'll go back to my user one more time. So we need to set up that lightning login. So that lightning login, the advantage I will show you in a bit. So you don't need to enter password. The phone will let you in. I mean, these are all the functions that as an admin, you would set help a business setting up all these things in real time. So again, so I mean, if you see here earlier, I have connect. Now, since I already connected on my phone, so it is that option is gone. So now it is disconnect. Now there is another option, lightning login enroll. When I click this guy, so now it is showing on my phone, and also if you have iPhone, the app, watch. So it basically sends a push notification to the app also. So now I authenticated through my phone. So next time when I want to log into Salesforce, so I don't need to enter password. So now again I go back to Salesforce. So let's say I am trying to authenticate for the first time, or maybe I'm coming back, and I don't. Let's say two things here. So let's try to use this guy. I mean, if I log in, let me see.
You enable both the options for the same account, right?
Yeah, same thing. Basically, one option you don't even need to enter password. So I'm going to incognito mode. So I'll try to log in with that user. Let's see if I remember. Okay, so I remember that guy. So my username. So let's say I don't want to enter my password. I simply enter my username. I mean, obviously, at least you need to remember username, and then I hit login. So now, I mean, I did not enter password. So it is on my phone and my watch. Basically, it is saying, it sends a push notification saying someone is trying to log in on your behalf, and do you want to approve this thing? So basically, I say on my phone, I approve. Immediately it let me in. So I mean, I don't have to remember my password. So I mean, with that setup, I mean, at least if you don't remember password, that is one way to get away with that. So let's say if I still enter password, I mean, we want extra security, right? So that's why now if I try this, I think it remembers my IP and the cookies and all. So that's why it is letting me in. But if I go to a new IP or new PC, potentially it sends a push notification to my phone, and I have to basically hit that thing. That way it will let me in. So I mean, those are ways to get around the password problems. Most of the time, it is a password problem, and Salesforce would ask you to change the password every 3 months and all. And for organizations, it is very painful, especially when you have maybe let's say 10,000 users working on your system, daily supporting customers. And if they can't log in, you would lose a lot of business. And also to support those guys, okay, everybody, I mean, we can always reset password and all, but by the time our admin team try to get in, help them, so you would definitely lose a lot of dollar values to the company. So what companies would do, so basically there is something called single sign-on. Typically on the network wise, companies will have one password, I mean, no matter what application I go, I just use that network ID and password, and that will let me in. So basically, there is a lot of settings that, I mean, not a lot of work, but I mean, every application, let's say a company is using Salesforce, SAP, maybe some BW, Tableau, a lot of systems. And every system, nobody will be able to remember passwords. I mean, some people would use LastPass and all, but if you don't have all that password fancy things, I mean, companies can't expect you to have all those things. So they have to provide ways, and that's where the single sign-on would come in handy. And so here, when you go to this single sign-on, potentially we do a lot of work. I mean, we have to connect our Salesforce system with the network, company's network, and there, whatever the credentials that you enter, I mean, you just need to remember that one password, one username, and that one, when you go to Salesforce, Salesforce would redirect you to the company network portal. There you enter your username, password, then it will redirect back to Salesforce. That's how the single sign-on works. I mean, those setup and everything is also the responsibility of the admin. So yeah, I mean, we covered MFA. I mean, at least I mean, this is my company, so we are working on enabling, and also Salesforce would mandate these things. February next year, everybody should be on MFA. So there is no excuse audit wise. If you are not following their protocols, they say you are not following, and Salesforce might say, okay, I'm not responsible for your security. And anything with security, I mean, any company can take a chance, and they have to follow these regulations. So that's where I mean, if you are using your own single sign-on, Salesforce would say, yeah, so you don't need to worry about it. But if you are using just the password and username for login, Salesforce would mandate you to use at least Salesforce Authenticator. Basically, you enter your password, you go to your phone, you approve it. That is your secondary authentication. I mean, they used to call secondary factor authentication. Now they're calling that as multi-factor authentication. So that is this MFA. So that's that one. And then we are already at 10. So I thought we can cover second module today. So I don't know whether we want to continue today, or maybe we can meet at next session.
Srikanth, I'd say some are still maybe not up to speed like with the exercises, right?
Mhm.
So maybe good idea to give them some time to catch up.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. But
And also, yeah, make sure, I mean, this is not mandatory, but I mean, these are the things that you would be doing in real time, enabling the end users with single, I mean, that multi-factor authentication and all. And these are good ones to start with, because you would be doing these things in real life. And you would troubleshoot a lot of login issues for sure. And at least try to be comfortable where to go, how to look those things. And obviously Google definitely helps, but at least you should be knowing some basic things where to look. Okay.
Srikanth, just one thing. Just like, you know, you showed us all these one-time authenticator and then, you know, lightning login. I don't think we get all these information if you go through Trailhead, right?
I mean, Trailhead, I mean, definitely Trailhead has a lot of content. Let's look at that one. So
when I say Trailhead, right, like, you know, usually when we plan to use Trailhead, we go with the course, right? Admin, beginner, or, you know,
yeah.
intermediate, whatever. Does this information be there?
Let's look at it. So, I mean, usually they are very good with the documentation, and especially, I mean, most of the documentation they kind of bring up with some scenario based one. So let's say SSOF. Let's look at this trial mix. Yeah, usually this yeah, one of those should have those. Let's see if they have anything. Yeah, you can also use Google or LinkedIn for logins. I mean, if we have time, we can go through, but those are more advanced admin topics. Yeah, I mean, it may not be. I mean, I'm pretty sure it should be here. I will see if I can find it later. But usually, the trailhead, most of the stuff we should be able to find, and this is very important thing from Salesforce point of view. I'm pretty sure they must have got a badge on this one. Yeah, sometimes
Yeah, that's a good point, Kishore. If there is an equivalent trailhead trail, you guys can maybe practice that one. But Srikanth, if you can't find it now, maybe you can send it to them.
yeah. So I mean, I'm usually instead of going there, I can Google it and I can find it faster. So yeah, I use multi-factor authentication unit. So potentially, I mean, we were not able to find it there, but Google is able to find it. So here, I think, I mean, if you go through this one, so once you log in, it should be talking about all that authentications. I think I'm still in the incognito mode.
Srikanth, is Kishore waiting for you to let him in?
So yeah,
He got disconnected, looks like.
yeah.
Sorry, Shrikant, I got disconnected.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I was able to find a trailhead thing on the Google, but I'm not sure whether it is AWS related one. But I mean, maybe I should be able to find one. If not, typically when you go in the org itself, they give you a lot of good documentation here. Whatever I walk through, so you should be able to find it here. Actually, they did nice videos also. Here, if you look for multi-factor authentication here, you should be able to be a multi-factor authentication assistant. And they have, I think, nice little video how to do that and all. And yeah, there is quite a bit of documentation here how to do this rollout. I mean, this is not a simple thing that you can do it for the end users, and not everybody is well versed with the devices and all. So they will have hundreds of questions, and they at one point of time they may say this is very complicated. And the admin's job is to make it so easy. I mean, you have to write lot of documentation with the screenshots how to do that and all. So that way we make it easy for the end user. The end job is we have to make it as smooth as it is or as it can be. So that is our job as admins.
Yeah. So my question was like, what I wanted to communicate was, so just like you were going through all these things, right? Like the Salesforce authenticator, Lightning login. If you can, because you know this is something that you would be doing on a day-to-day basis. Like not you, the admin would be doing on a day-to-day basis in the work, right? So if you can, every time you show us something, if you can correlate it to the real-time experience, this way we get to understand. We know what exactly will be done at work when we get into the job.
Yeah, how it relates to the real time, right?
Yep.
So I had a question in the
Right.
same. I had a question in the same area. So how do you? So when a new employee comes into the company, do you guys add them manually, or Does it sync directly from Active Directory?
Yeah.
That
So
type of stuff.
yeah, there are a lot of ways. I mean, at Granger, what we do, we build the integration every time. I mean, not every time, basically, whenever we add a new employee to the HR system, the HR system will send out a notification to Salesforce saying, okay, hey, Srikanth joined, and Srikanth's email is this, Srikanth's user ID is so and so. User ID is network purposes. So that is the one that we are going to use for single sign-on. If we go back to sales, I mean here, potentially there are multiple ways you can do it. Either the single sign-on, you can use it by the user ID or email address, or there is something called federated ID. So basically federation ID, this is the one we will be using for single sign-on most of the time. And this is a company related ID. So let's say most of the companies would follow some different naming conventions. For me, so let's say for a contractor, there's go with Y letter, and then if it is full-time employee, it goes with the X letter, and then my first name and first letter of first name, last name of last letter. So basically they build something like this, XSXG some 004 something like that. So that is my ID. So basically when I'm in Granger, so they know me just by this thing, and that is kind of my unique ID. And if I with this ID and with my Granger password, I can get into pretty much all the applications, because the company would do single sign-on. So that's, you have to enter this guy, and then you have to do that single sign-on thing. So then that's how you enable single sign-on for that user. I don't need to remember my Salesforce password. I don't need to use my Salesforce authenticator thing. And for me, as long as I remember just my Granger network password, I should be able to get in. And that's how most of the companies would let their employees to work. And if the company is small, I mean, Salesforce started as a small, and if the company is small, they don't have all these things, single sign-ons and all, and then so they can at least use these other things, because at the end of the day, so however you do, security is the most important thing. Yeah, and I mean, these projects are going to take a lot of time on the admins. Any feature enablement.
One other question, Srikanth. You mentioned that there would be sandboxes, right? With the production instance, when you get a production instance, it comes with few licenses, and then you get few sandboxes.
Yeah.
So can you just throw some light on how the environment is? Say you have a dev environment, you have a QA, you have a UAT, you have a production environment. Production, as you said, it'll be only one instance, correct?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find a picture for you. So that, let me actually get out of this incognito mode. Yeah, so typically, let's see if any of these. Yeah. So let's say this one here, see multiple clouds. Maybe this one. Yeah, I mean, these are not very good pictures, but let's assume this is, I mean, this is not how it is. So there will be a series of things that goes in. Yeah, so let's assume this is one the developer sandbox, and then there is a build, and then there is a test, and then there is the release. I mean, here you see this is the production one, and there are a lot of sandboxes in between. And for Salesforce, everything is sandbox. Whichever one, there is only one production system. The rest of all are sandboxes. The full sandbox is equivalent to production one, basically size wise and everything. So basically it is as good as production one.
Is it a backup?
I mean, it is not really backup because you don't refresh this one. I mean, Salesforce doesn't even allow you to refresh you until after the next 30th day. And these sandboxes, you can refresh anyone anytime you want. So there are storages, there are, I mean, users and everything will come automatically. And these are different sandboxes. There are developer pro sandbox, there is a partial sandbox, and there is full sandbox, and there are templates. But the main ones are the developer sandbox, developer pro, partial copy, and full sandbox. Full sandbox, as I said, it is as good as the production one, same size. And the partial copy, typically it is 5 GB sandbox, and developer pro is 1 GB size, and the developer is typically 200 MB size. That's how the size is different. And when you refresh sandbox from production, only this one will get as much as data from production. Basically, let's say if you have 1 terabyte data in production, it will bring all the data. When I said data, basically account, contact, all the opportunities, everything that you have, even chatter, it will bring into this one, and you can use it for your testing, the volume testings and everything. Whereas partial copy, you can create some templates saying, okay, hey, from account object, I want to bring in only 1000 records. So maybe you can say, because there is a size limitation, this one maybe your production maybe 1 terabyte, and these guys allow only 5 GB. So you need to limit the data. So that's where you use this one, I mean, some templates to control what you want to bring in. Again, developer pro and developer sandbox, they won't they only copy the metadata. When I say metadata, let's say you have 100 custom objects, all those custom objects will come in, and all your users will come in, but none of your accounts, none of your contacts would be loaded into this. You have to find ways to load your I mean, little bit of data, because there is a limitation on 1 GB on the size, and here 200 MB. So you have to be smart enough as an admin. I mean, again, so these are all admin functions. So you have to bring in the less data, but it should meet your requirements. Let's say you are working on opportunity cases and all, you should be able to have some cases and to do your testing, basically either developer testing or even for admin testing. So that's how you have to bring in all this. And again, going back, when you make some changes, basically this is where you make the changes, you develop, you do unit testing, and then you let's say there are 3 developers in the same release, they are working, and they need to maybe if this developer change or this admin change may have a contradictory development on the other one. So when you move all these things, 3 changes into this sandbox, there you do the release test. So you have to make sure you don't break any production one. Basically, that's where they call as a regression tests and all. You do some of those here. So, and also you test these 3 functionalities again one more time. I mean, that's where the QAs and all will go in. And typically developers work on this thing. And here it is an integrated system. Integrated in the sense all these 3 development will go in, and you test it one more time, saying, okay, whether this developer broke, this admin broke some functionality, you verify it. And if you see everything is fine, so potentially you will send it to next system. And sometimes this guy may or may not send the changes to production. So maybe this developer says, okay, my changes are not quite yet ready, I want to wait. So that's where the changes, whatever, I mean, here we moved to 3 changes, but one person is not ready. So the 2 changes, they will deploy to next system. And again, so they will do one more testing there. And here are, I mean, QS do a lot of automation, and they run scripts basically to make sure everything is fine. And if everything is successful, again, these changes will go into full sandbox. And if everything is fine there, so then potentially you will deploy to production. So that's how the development lifecycle work. And there will be a lot of automation that happens here. And you don't want, I mean, the code is not going to be in the system. I mean, Salesforce, initially they started to do everything in the sandboxes. Now you have to push your code to version control. So those are the things you will see in the real life. The GitHub, you will see those names, and also Bitbucket is another thing where you put your source code in that. I mean, when I say code, it is not the development code, but any metadata. Basically, the code is also metadata. You push all your code metadata into version control, and you deploy all the metadata through that version control to production. I mean, across the systems. That's how in the real life it happens. And you see these things: force source deploy, force source retrieve, and these are all the commands on the CLI. When I say CLI, it is command line interface, something like the VS code. So you basically go here, you deploy, I mean, you write classes and all that stuff, and then once you are ready, you basically move to the next system. And since I'm here, so basically this is the developer uses these kind of tools. This is VS Code.
If you can, if you go back to the picture, please. I just have, let me confirm what I heard is right. So the develop plus test, right? This is like individual developers working on their own sandboxes and on the features that they plan to work. And then QA would also test there, right? The feature that each person develops.
It all depends on the company. So I mean, typically, I mean, we do test in these sandboxes also, but it's better to do the testing in the integrated system, because whatever the developer does, they do unit testing there. The feature would definitely pass here, but when other developer, other admin would add their work, and that's when it may break. I mean, if the developer itself, whatever he developed, it is not working, I mean, it is not going to work here also. So that's why it's not a good practice for QA to enter in here.
Yeah.
It is better for QA to enter here in the testing. And also you see this guy, dev. These are the developer sandboxes, which are 200 MB. And this is a developer pro, which is 1 GB. So basically that's how, I mean, these, as you go through here, the capacity of the sandbox is going to be increased. So 200 MB, 1 GB, 5 GB, as good as production, and then production.
Okay, yeah, got it. Yeah, I just wanted to get the confirmation that it's unit testing. The other thing is, like, how often do you refresh data from production for QA?
This one, I mean, Salesforce has some restrictions. This one, full sandbox, if you refresh today, so after 29 days, you cannot refresh full sandbox. I mean, you may need to go through very high level permissions and all if you need to, I mean, if there is any need for you to refresh one more time. There may be, you can work with Salesforce, but by default, they won't allow you to refresh one more time until the 29th day comes in. Whereas this guy, partial sandbox, they allow you to refresh every 5 days. And this guy, I mean, from these four, you can refresh pretty much every day. You can refresh daily once. If you refresh once after 24 hours, again, you should be able to refresh the guy.
And who does the refresh?
The admin. So I mean, most of the things are done by admin. And here you don't need to go to the Salesforce support. Only when you are creating this production instance, when you buy the licenses, first time they create a production system, there onwards the admin would create all this landscape, and you have to make sure, I mean, if you are using the way you deploy, so there are multiple ways to deploy. And if you, the oldest way is to use genset, something called genset. If you want to do that, basically you have to authorize these individual sandboxes. Okay, hey, I want to send changes from here to here. That means the admin has to go in saying, okay, hey, this dev sandbox one is good enough. I mean, trust this system. Let me authorize this guy, and then only this guy can send the changes to here. I mean, those are the changes you would be doing as an admin.
Srikanth will go through those as an exercise sometime. Is that the plan,
No,
or
I
what is the
mean,
plan?
unfortunately, Salesforce won't give these kind of environments for us. And so these we will need to see it in the system. I mean, I cannot show my Granger landscape, unfortunately. I mean, I'm logging in my personal laptop, but I mean, I can give you high level how it works.
So
But,
maybe a more detailed explanation, like
yeah,
probably a session for that. Explaining. I mean, this falls in line with the software development lifecycle, right? Development, QA, UAT, and then releases.
yeah. I mean, I will try to find some videos. I'm pretty sure we should be able to find a lot of videos how to do these things. I mean, when we went for training, they were able to give us some kind of systems like that. I mean, we were able to create a change in one system. We were able to deploy. I mean, without our company system. I don't know whether I mean, obviously we paid for training for the, I mean, company paid for us. That's how we got it. But the systems that we got is not capable of doing. So basically the way you do, if you go to this system, the way you see all these, so under setup, yeah, as I said, everything is under setup. Okay, so then you go here.
No, I mean, we don't, Srikanth, we don't need to see now, but what I'm saying is maybe we need to put a session for kind of, that is important admin function, right?
Yeah,
I'm just wondering, we'll have if we'll go in detail in that or not.
Should have separate session.
Let's see. I think this one is showing some sandboxes. I don't know whether it allows us to create sandbox. Oh yeah, actually, yeah. I mean, we should be able to create sandbox here. I mean, this is how you do it, and also here. I mean, obviously, if you go here, you can see some help. And this guy is. We are able to create sandbox. I mean, this is how you create a sandbox. You just enter dev sandbox, and we are saying where do you want to copy from. You want to copy from production, and here they don't give you the developer pro, and here you see how often you can refresh. So this is the interval, and what is the capacity, of each system. I mean, I think I did pretty good. So basically even numbers, and so the configuration, what it is going to include. So, and here what it is going to get you, and here basically there are records. I mean, if you see, there are no records here. Here there are records, and here there is, I mean, full copy. And obviously if we go down, so here they did not give us an option to create this, but at least they gave an option to create a developer sandbox, and developer pro also they did not give. I mean, this one might fail because I see 0 of 0, but at least here 0 of 25. We should be able to create 25 sandboxes from this one. And typically, if I create the sandbox,
can't we use those two as to demonstrate?
Yeah. So I mean, now it is in QA, in queue.
Once it's created, we can.
Yeah, typically it takes about I mean 5-6 hours, or maybe sometimes based on the data that we have. So we should be able to see by the next time we are ready.
Yeah.
The thing is, you have to remember the password of this system when you are ready. So basically, when you get an email, so when you click that email, basically it will ask you to enter password. The password we didn't enter the system, but you have to use this password and to get in, and it will ask you to reset the password and all, and then you can get in.
I mean, I kind of think it will help everyone to see this process.
I thought they would give this option. Good that we have this option. We can try to make some changes and we can try to deploy the changes and all. We will see.
Yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, but I mean, these are some advanced topics. I mean, not that we cannot do, but I mean, if you see the way we wanted to go,
maybe this is a bit of deviation from our initial.
Yeah, that's what I was trying.
Yeah, it can be at the end of the course also. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be now.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's one of the important functions of an admin. So maybe we can help by showing it. So
Yeah, for sure. Yes. So yeah, we can go through that.
Sampath and
yeah,
Sridhar,
it's already. Sorry.
one
Kishore?
other request, when you upload the session to Dropbox, right?
Sure.
Rather than saying day 1, day 2, can we have a name to it so that, when we have to go back and revisit the videos, it would be.
Yeah, we can. I mean, I'll see what we can do with Srikanth. I'll work with him, see what we covered, and then try to name it that way.
Yeah. So yeah, we can do. I mean, I thought of covering these things. I mean, these are basic admin ones. Yeah, that one may be in the advanced admin. Yeah, but we can cover those things as long as you guys have time. Hopefully, we should be
Yeah.
able to cover this.
All right, guys, we're already 30 minutes over. So, I mean, as if you guys are okay, I'm good. I'm just trying to remind.
Yeah. Let me stop the recording.
The only thing is, the more info we push, the more we'll